Hello, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. This is Raw Cloud. Today, I wanted to discuss a few things pertaining to the weather. Now, most of you within the East Coast have been hit with strange weather. I was speaking with someone in the military, and there's other people that I have formed groups with that know about weather modification systems, and I'll be sharing some intel with you guys um, on how smart dust has been like developed. You know, this could have been like 20, 30 years ago. The military industrial complex, they developed what we call smart dust. It's nanoparticles. And, you know, they are extremely high advanced with everything that they can do. They have many ways of obtaining, get it into the human form, the human body, also animal and plant life as well. They are like really on a microscopic level. And I'll be sharing with you guys of what that looked like and some of the information pertaining to smart dust. I'll also be showing you videos. Um, Yesterday, before the snow started like packing in, like really bad, that morning on my way from the gym, I noticed that there were some particles that was on the road, and this was not snow formation. These were what we consider smart dust. So they dropped the nanoparticles first, and we know the difference between snow and something else. Okay, once snow hits the ground, once it start falling, the first fall of snow, it starts to stick to the road. It does not move across the road in any form or fashion. It does not act like any type of dust. It hits the ground, then it begins to like melt and then ice over. Okay, this did not happen, and I'll give you video proof of what was dropped first. And these are nanoparticles. It's what we call smart dust. So they dropped the smart dust first, then the snow began to fall. Later, 6 to 7 hours later, could be 9 hours, then more aluminum start to form over like the top of the ice. In this particular region where I originated from, in North Carolina, I can count on one hand how many times we had like snow since the time I was born on up to now. It's really rare that we get snow in North Carolina, in the area that I'm in. So it had to be at least about a foot of snow, maybe a little bit more. Could be 2 feet in certain areas in North Carolina. If you guys are in the North Carolina area or on the East Coast, let me know in the comment section just how much snow did you get, and did you notice anything before the snow start packing in? Did you notice anything different, like with the formation of the particles of this so-called snow? So we all know, the people of this channel, we know about weather modification systems. I mean, that's nothing brand new. I mean, you can go to any CIA website, and there is intel that have been declassified for the public. It's not classified anymore. You can go and get certain information just about anywhere about smart dust. As a matter of fact, for the ones that do not know anything about this, I highly recommend that you read up on how smart dust works, how it can affect you in many areas of the earth, um, and just what it was designed for and all of its capability. So check out this video. And then also, I left you a video on how the real lizards, these particular elites like the royal families, you know about the black eye syndromes that they get and how they get the injection in the eyes, and these particular demonic beings, once they inject you in the eye, it gives you like this black eye. You've seen Queen Elizabeth. We've seen Elon lately with this black eye. I think that was maybe about a couple of months ago. He started showing people that he had this black eye. The president of France, he had the black eye. All of these guys at some point are gonna get this. It doesn't matter how popular you are or how high in the ranks you are. If you are part of these Illuminati groups, if you have any pull or influence over the human population, you are gonna most definitely get this, what we call injections. They call it the real lizards. Okay, and this particular parasite. So I'm gonna show you what it looked like. You're gonna see this lizard. You can kill these lizards using frequencies, and we all know that there's many types of frequencies. Some of them are not beneficial for humans or animals or plants, but there's also frequencies that are, and they can kill cancer cells. This has been proven on a scientific level, where scientists have concentrated these frequencies and light upon cancer cells, and then these cancer cells start to lose their ability to, replicate or grow. They actually, over time, they die. They begin to die. So we know that most of these frequencies are really good for killing parasites, just like, the lights. Light also carry frequencies that we can't see, that we can't hear, but they can be beneficial in many ways. So check this out. Also, I'm gonna be leaving a link. I want you guys to check out that link. I may end up leaving 2 links, so check it out. Uh, the purpose of this video is to educate people on weather modification systems, and what these certain elite groups within the military industrial complex have the capability of doing. Will their plans or agendas work? No. We have many high dimensional beings, Christ like conscious beings, in the physical and in the non physical, that are working with us. And they too have been fed up with how things have been placed on earth. And they are going to be instrumental in helping us, get Earth back on course. And it's beginning to get a little bit better. But of course, you can't tell these Illuminatis, these Masons, these devil worshippers, these guys, they're going to fight all the way to the end. And that's what I'm hoping, because I want to have a little fun with them in the physical and in the non-physical. When you believe in God and you're doing work for God, then you will be blessed with a lot of things. You would be in a pathway for things to that other people may not understand, but you will understand how God is going to be working through you and for you to help the people that you can. You're not going to be able to help everybody. Do not concern yourself with those that you cannot help, okay? They have their own path. You know, we incarnated to help the people that we can and to keep them on track. So I love you. I honor you. I respect you always. Have a good day. Hey guys, I want to show you something very interesting. So this is my hometown. This is on the road that I'm traveling on. So look, they drop nanoparticles first. It came in like three stages. First, they dropped the nanoparticles. These nanoparticles started acting like smart dust going across the road. It seemed like it had some sort of intelligence about itself. We all know when snow once it hit the street, it begins to stick. It doesn't move in a manner as if it has, you know, intelligence about itself. It doesn't move in that particular manner. So they dropped the nanoparticles first, or aka smart dust. Then the snow, the original snow, what with whatever else they had inside of that, and then later they dropped more aluminum. I mean, you can tell. Normally, where I'm from, it does not get snow at all. I mean, I can count on one hand how many times I had snow from the time I was young till the age I am now. So we got about 13 inches, maybe 14 inches, maybe in certain parts it got even more. But you can see how this nanoparticles are moving across the street. It has some type of intelligence about itself. Snow does not move in that manner, especially when it falls first. These are like nanoparticles going across the street, as you can see.
And you're watching End Times Productions. Antarctica is a mystery in itself. We still don't fully understand Antarctica, but in 1537, a map shows up called the Parasites map, and there's no ice on Antarctica. So in the 1500s, if this was a accurate representation, Antarctica was not underneath ice. And that's not very long ago when you consider the history of the world. 1537, Parasites map, pretty fascinating little. What brought the ice? I don't know. Was the ice there to keep people out? Was the ice somehow created by whatever forces are residing there? I don't know. But what we know is that there's ice there now, and it's such a harsh climate. It's like the harshest climate in the world. You're talking about some of the craziest winter temperatures and also being a dry environment. The Nazis went there fully prepared. And according to General Dönitz, during the war, he gave an interview saying specifically that in case things took a turn for the worse, they already had a backup plan because they had already established a fortress within the ice. Now, that was a direct reference to what is called Base 211. So, the Nazis go down there. It's very likely that they went ahead and established Base 211 in that initial expedition in 1938. Which, again, if the Nazis had not been successful in going down there and setting up shop, it's likely that World War II never would have happened. It's funny how the mainstream modern world tries to tell all these reasons for World War II while totally ignoring all the things that surrounded it before it actually happened. It's kind of like with the Civil War. What we're talking about the Civil War is really not actually what happened. The causes and what led to the Civil War were not exactly what they make it out to be. I'm not going to go on a tangent there. But people love to take their agenda and to paint history with the paintbrush of their agenda. So, the Nazis come back, and you now have World War II stemming up. This is wild. Everybody's coming against the Nazis. I'm not saying they were good people. They were not. They were occultists. They were very much very much racist in the term that they wanted to perfect their race. They wanted to bring out their latent abilities, if in fact they were descendants of these Aryan Nephilim. That's what they wanted to do. And again, this is their belief. This is what they believed was their birthright. And something led them to Antarctica. And by the way, they come back from Antarctica and say that they had contact with the king of the earth. You do the math, figure out what that means. The king of the earth, prince of the power of the air, the god of this world, king over Shambhala. It's not really that much of a stretch. They obviously came into contact with Satan if they came in contact with the king of the world. In their terms. They come back, World War II starts. Interestingly enough, before the war started, they started sending submarines of some of their highest ranking Nazis. You're talking about doctors, engineers, the most brilliant minds, the magicians, occultists. Before, during, and even after World War II, they began a massive exodus of what totaled to be over 1 million Nazis that just fully disappeared. And they didn't know they disappeared until after the war, when they were doing checks and balances on everything in Germany. The entire Reichstag bank disappeared by design. I mean, this is all by design. The Nazis knew what they were doing. They were taking these submarines before, during, and after the war in this massive exodus. By the way, during the war, a lot of strange things were happening in Nazi Germany. You had this society called the Vril Society that were really showing their colors. The Vril Society was the inner workings or the upper echelon of the aforementioned Thule Society. So the Thule Society was basically that was the group, that was the general assembly of this secret society. But the Vril Society was like the upper echelon of the Thule Society. And the Vril Society were the ones who were actually doing the seances, who were trying to tap into the Vril power that we've already discussed. The Vril was that power of creation and destruction, that power that would also awaken their abilities, going back to the Vril-Ya superior race, who they believed were their ancestors currently living inside the earth. I do want to talk about the Vril Society once we get there. We've got a little more to cover here about the war. World War II takes place. The Nazis basically get their butts handed to them. That's what we're told. Hitler's dead, along with all these other major German Nazi leaders are declared dead. That's not what happened. Although the newspapers were saying that. We have the now declassified FBI documents, which we took from the FBI website. We got them directly from the FBI. We show them inside of the film. We do high-resolution zooms. You can see the images. Hitler was spotted in Argentina after World War II, alive and well near the foothills of the Andes, which is interesting because that's also allegedly where one of the entrances to the Chincana was. You also, around that same time, had all of these European twins, identical twins, blonde-haired, blue-eyed, identical twins being born to South American women that were not blonde-haired and blue-eyed. And then we find out that not only Hitler made it to Argentina, according to the FBI documents, but there was another very famous Nazi doctor who made it down there as well, who continued to practice his eugenics, by the way. He paraded around as a veterinarian to basically keep his cover from getting blown. But he did all sorts of these experiments on the women down there, and he was going around delivering their children. There's a whole lot of information out there about that. I don't want to go into too much of a tangent. Fascinating stuff. We don't cover all of that in the film. That's just a little bit of a side note from our research. Many people probably know his name. It's Joseph Mengele. He was considered a mad scientist from Nazi Germany. Mengele was going around doing all these things in South America, freely operating, and he was going house to house delivering the children of the people who he was genetically manipulating somehow. And that's why we have a whole lot of these European families now living there that were born from South American lineages, but they appeared to be German. It's completely wild. And what really made it even crazier was that you could say it's a conspiracy theory, but then Time magazine actually covered it. Yeah, really wild stuff about Joseph Mengele and everything that he did down there. He was also one of the doctors who was known for trying to take twins and transplant. He would take the eyeballs out of twins and switch them. He was trying to figure out if twins could be interchanged with their organs and their body parts. Very, very demonic stuff. So anyway, the FBI recognized that Hitler was alive and well. He was in he obviously had made it down to Argentina, the foothills of the Andes. From there, we believe that he went to Antarctica. And you say, well, why didn't he just go in the submarines? You know, because everybody else was going in subs. Hitler was a very, very sensitive target. Everyone was looking for him. The powers that lied to the world and told us that he was dead, they were on a mission to locate him. So because of him being such a high value target, he would not have gone with, with the mainstream masses that were accessing down in the submarines. And by the way, these submarines normally would have had a payload of about 8 to 12 people. The Nazis were cramming upwards of 50 people in these submarines to send. They were trying to get as many of them down to base 211 as they could as quickly as possible before, during, and after the war. Over 1 million of them made it to base 211. Then the leftovers were brought to America, forgiven of their war crimes, totally forgiven of their war crimes, such as Werner von Braun. He comes down and he ends up being like the father of NASA. Basically, NASA is created. The pharmaceutical industry is just booming now because the pharmaceutical industry came from Nazi Germany. Amphetamine pills, Adderall. That was essentially crystal meth in a pill that the Nazis created. The Nazis were able to stay up for weeks at a time on their amphetamine pills. All these pharmaceuticals that people take today and think that they're safe and effective, well, they're effective. Not sure if they're safe. That was a product of Nazi Germany. The dexedrine, different types of methamphetamines, that all came from Nazi Germany. That's how the Nazis were able to stay up for weeks plotting and fighting and doing all these things, all their missions around the world. They were high on amphetamines. Now, when we get into the Vril Society and the seances that they were doing, we're going to learn that a lot of the technology and the information that the Nazis had, they were getting it directly from otherworldly entities in their seances. Absolutely, they were getting technology, pharmakia, chemical compounds and formulations. They were not just sitting around making this stuff up. It's kind of reminiscent of Nikola Tesla and others who were bringing high technology to the world. Well, where did they get that technology? Well, they were in cahoots with certain entities, seances. Sometimes they're referred to as ascended masters. But this goes back to what was taking place when we look back to the Native American stories of the reptilian coming through the portal and corrupting mankind and teaching mankind magic, cutting of roots, mixing of things to make potions, all kinds of, what eventually turned into synthesizing things. So I definitely believe that does come at its core origin point. It would be from seances. It's kind of like Black Sabbath said there was always the fifth member of the band in the room writing the music for them. Keith Richards from the Rolling Stones would talk about sitting in a chair, certain body parts getting hard and cold and being taken over and foaming at the mouth. Santana, you've got these crazy interviews that they gave where they would be taken over by an entity, and then the next thing you know, they've got hit music that the world loves. So yes, I do believe a lot of the technology, the pharmaceuticals, chemical compounds, absolutely came through channeling sessions. People were wanting to break on through to that other side. Jim Morrison, no pun intended, break on through to the other side. It was not uncommon for some of the movers and shakers, the famous, those that are loved by the world. They got a lot of their talents, a lot of their abilities, a lot of what they offered to the world and their inventions, technology. Yes, absolutely, through channeling sessions, seances. The most plausible theory is that Hitler made his way to Argentina first. And by the way, the Catholic Church was very well known for smuggling Nazis into South America. The Catholic Church believed apparently in what they were doing. And again, we need to really make sure we don't get it twisted. When we study the Nazis, we're really, you can't separate the Nazis from the occult. The occult meaning tapping into higher entities, tapping into ascended masters, locating ancient technology, reviving all of these things, and also the interest in the inner earth and the races that might live inside the earth, dating back to being descendants of the Nephilim. Well, the Catholic Church also has set up churches on top of many of these, and I mean the Vatican, by the way, not necessarily the Catholic Church on the corner in your neighborhood, but the Vatican has been setting up churches, taking land, sacred land, entrances into these hollow earth entrance, catacomb cities, building churches, cathedrals on top of them. Interestingly enough, one and particularly right there near the one of the Chincana entrances. So the Catholic Church had a hand in smuggling the Nazis out of Nazi Germany. We're talking about the most elite of the Nazis, not the leftovers, but the main course Nazis, the upper echelon, the ones that knew and did, the movers and shakers. And you say, yeah, but we got movers and shakers brought to America through, Project Paperclip, Operation Paperclip. Yeah, we did, but they were the leftovers. Believe me, Von Braun and NASA and the pharmaceutical industry, that was all the fat trimmed off of the steak. The steak made it down to Antarctica, and it was planned accordingly. So the Nazis make it down there. It makes most sense that Hitler and some of the others that were the more sensitive targets made it down. And I do believe there's some very possibility that they went into the Shinkana and that's how they made it to Antarctica, to not be out in the main ocean, to not be out where they could be monitored. Possibly Base 211, because General Donuts again said that Base 211 was a fortress secured inside the ice. So we're not talking about a base built on the surface here. It's very likely that the Shinkana directly opened up into Base 211. It's just a theory, but that would make the most sense. Now let's talk about World War 2.5. It's amazing how much the American government has completely deceived the taxpayer. I mean, they take your money and they lie to you about where it's going. People have really in recent days really talked a lot about that. But let's just go back to post World War II. We're told the Nazis have been completely defeated. Our government brings back a bunch of Nazis, forgives them of their war crimes, and then installs them as high-ranking government officials, gives them money and resources, and gives them new names even, to where they're slightly unrecognizable in some situations, depending on how bad the war crimes were. If their war crimes weren't as bad, they could keep their name. Anyway, there are a lot of interesting things there. The Nazis were down in Antarctica. The powerful Nazis, they had a fortress in the ice, and according to their own declarations, had been in contact with the king of the world. So, we have a very interesting scenario arise known as Operation High Jump.
So, guys, you can kill these parasites. These are what they want to inject into you. There's many forms, as you can see. Most of the elites, they get the needle into the eye, the injection. They get the real parasite, Draco, lizard. They share like the hive mind mentality. They grow just like this particular parasite. They carry the hive mind. These are Dracos, the real lizards. Most of the royal families and the high officials. We've seen Elon with the black eye. We've seen a lot of these people carrying the black eye. Well, that's what it comes from, the injection in the eye. The reptilians want to make sure that no one with power will have free will to think, and if they do, they are quickly rounded up, and then they get this parasite in their eye, and from that moment on, they are forever changed. The lizard grows deep within them, and there's a lot of people right now that has a lot of these entities in them. They are demonic in form. They are demonic in nature, and they control human hosts. But you can kill it with a frequency, and there's many types of frequencies for many types of these pathogens that there are frequencies for like Lyme disease. Many frequencies that will kill these parasites like cancer. And that's exactly what some of these pathogens, these parasites, they form like a cancerous cell within the body. But most of the elites, they have these parasites in them, and they are controlled through a hive mind mentality. So these are some of the people that have been, let's just say, they have sold their souls to these particular Dracos or reptilians, for power, and they are part of these bloodline families. So they get this lizard parasite entity injected into the brain, the back of the eye, so that they are more controllable by the reptilians. This is what this parasite looked like. It is injected into the eye, and it grows in the back of the eye, connected to the brain, and it takes over. It takes over slowly, the host, but it also shares this hive mind mentality with other real lizards out there. They are what we consider like body snatchers. You have to have some sort of deal with these Illuminatis in order for this to happen. Normally, you trade your body for money, power, respect in these elite families. So they can't do this without you having like consent, and like I said, most of these Hollywood people and people that have been successful in the music industry had to have some type of deal with these type of entities in order for that to happen to them. And it happens. You can kill these parasites with frequency, and it is possible to eliminate these pathogens, these parasites, through sound frequency, through light frequencies. So yeah, they can't beat you guys. I mean, you guys are connected to God's source, which they can't handle that type of light. They can't handle that type of love. And they try all types of ways to beat the human race, but you guys can't be beat. You know, the timelines, it was never meant for you guys to be beat. It was always meant in the Akashic records for you guys to, you know, achieve ascension. But you can't tell a parasite, you can't tell a parasitic race any of that stuff because they don't understand. These are like more or less psychopaths that feed off of negative energy. You guys will achieve your ascension, and but as we learn, we grow. So hold that love and compassion for each other, and let's keep going. Love, honor, and respect, you guys. Have a good day.